Back for round 2. Our opponent is going first, mulliganing to 6, and I think we should do the same. We do have a guild mage that would be great with some more lands, but other than that we aren't really doing that much. It's kind of sad, but our deck is good enough to mulligan down to 6, especially once our opponent is down some cards as well. This hand is really nice. We can go either for a Herald or a Griffin turn 3 and then drop Martial Law. So I'm going to keep it. Also turn 1 Guild Gate, of course, much better than anything else. Crosstown Courier not that threatening. I have to play the Herald here, not to block, but because I'm not guaranteed to have double green on turn 4. And one of our flyer defenses goes away. Here's a secret, Stealer of Secrets. Shouldn't be a problem. But it might be best to keep the Herald open if he has anything. Now there's an interesting situation. If he decides to attack with... Whoa. If he decides to attack with Stealer of Secrets, that would mean that he has something like a bounce spell to kill the Centaur. So it would be better to block with the Herald first and then block, even though it's only a 2/2. So now that he has made his Stealer 3/3 first strike, it wasn't really a decision to make there. It's possible that we should block the Stealer of Secrets with Seller of Songbirds. Starting to throw away cards doesn't sound too good though. It might be best to just go for Martial Law here, let him draw 1 card, and then start taking back control of the game. The question is if the Centaur wants to get in on the action as well. Well, it does prevent 2 damage to me, so it might be important. Sometimes you have to give your opponent a card if you can't prevent it. The price would just be too high. Once again, one of the weaknesses of our deck is that it has too many 3-drops, and we are basically only dropping 1 spell a turn from turn 3 on. So that makes our 2-drops so important, and also means that it's important to reach 6 mana. I decided to Martial Law the Stealer because I can take 2 damage from Rune Ring without a problem. Oh, that's a good card. Yeah, the Centaur is gone. And I'm going to keep detaining this. Two options here. Either drop my hand and look to achieve board parity. Alternatively, I can go for the rig and have something that he basically needs to deal with. Otherwise, I deal quite a bit of damage. I think I like both of these plays. Yeah, having 2 spells this turn is just too important. Even though it would be nice to clear the board with the rig and then play out more creatures, it's just not that likely to happen, so... Taking 2. Now we need to think about our options here. I think we need to start detaining his flyers, and whoa, Collective Blessing. This card is amazing. Five, 8 Vigilance. And the question is if the 4/4 can attack as well. Given that he doesn't have any cards, I think we can risk it. We still have the 5/8 Vigilance on defense. And his Griffin is detained still. So yeah, it's also quite important to deal as much damage as possible this turn. There's still some cards he can draw that would be pretty good, but I don't see any that outright win him the game, which is a good start. And he concedes in the face of these commons here. Not commons, rares. He has Ethereal Armor on Stealer of Secrets, some flyers, a Void Wheeler, Arrest. Okay. Now this time we don't have something to get rid of his enchantments except for Keening Apparition, so that's certainly staying in. Going to bring in Aerial Predation against him. That's an easy thing to do. The question is if we need something like Avenging Arrow or Swift Justice to have one more card to deal with an early Stealer of Secrets. Tokens are worse against him, so it might be correct to just take out Curses Accord and rely on our early game stuff. Yeah, that makes sense. Now, once again, I'm not too keen on Avenging Arrow, and I already have a mix of combat tricks. I also don't want too many against the blue-white decks. So, I think we are fine with what we have here. I didn't watch replays because I usually don't. Given that this is like the semifinals of a premier event, I probably should have, but now we're in the games anyway. So he's going first, keeping. I'm keeping as well, having the turn 1 Guild Gate. I do need a third land, but on the draw that shouldn't be a problem. Chorus of Might I don't like that much because it's only going to be good once we have gone on the offensive. I might have some better cards in the sideboard. He isn't doing anything. It's possible that he has a mass removal spell in his deck, or just a draw without a lot of flyers. Now, one thing we want to do is just to continue the beatdown. I would also love to attack and apply Calm Bond though as a great spell. Although if he blocks the bird, we need to make it 3/3 and he responds with a Void Fielder next, then this is going to look pretty stupid. So I think just getting out more creatures is the way to go here. And I'm actually going to play the rig because I want to see it in play. And it's going to deal the most damage, of course. Okay, it was good enough so that he decided not to bounce the bird, at least. Going to continue this experiment. There isn't that much that can happen to me, so... It looks like he doesn't want to add too much to the board, which is understandable. Now things get interesting. I won the flip, so I keep the rig. That's great. It's possible that my next play is getting countered, so I might not want this to be the guard, given that... No, I think I need to play the guard. I mean, this is the guy that has 5 toughness, and it's not like it's a creature I can't afford to lose. It's one of the weaker creatures in my deck, so... Here I'm attacking with everything, because if he blocks the bird, he takes quite a bit of damage. And I might actually want to Chorus of Might here. It seems like a good time to do so. If he has something, that's okay as well. Okay, exiling this is fine. Doesn't really trigger the bad part of the rig. Now, I could drop the Herald, but that's only good if I draw a land next turn. And if I do, I can still go for Common Bond and Griffin. So I'm going to pass here, simply because if he has a mass removal spell, I don't want the Herald to die as well. But that doesn't look to be the case. I'll just attack with the Vigilant Guard, because it looks less suspicious. Now that he's dropped more of his cards, I can afford to play another creature. It's just rather unlikely that he has a Wrath of God and somehow play his 2 creatures first. Okay, this is interesting as well. He now has the option to detain a creature of mine at instant speed, but he's also under a lot of pressure, and it does cost 5, so Common Bond should be very powerful. I don't know what he's thinking about. It's possible that he wants to detain now. Okay, no, he decided to play another creature, okay. No land again, once again. So we do need to stop Stealer of Secrets. But we do have the Vigilance guy, so I think we attack with these 2. See what happens. I think that's fine. If he takes 2 damage, we are happy about that. Then we can martial law. And I'll just drop another Herald. Our hand is still fine. I'm not the biggest fan of Stealer of Secrets. I don't think it's a very good creature. But the same goes for Fairy Imposter, so I will trade my 1/1 for your 2/1. And now I think I detain the Guild Mage. Does that make sense? No, the Guild Mage is the worst blocker he has, so let's detain this. And if he decides to detain now, then he's finally tapped out. And we get to attack. Okay, that was enough, the Common Bond on the Inrig. I mean, he could have started detaining it, but we have martial law and a lot of soon-to-be 3 power centaurs on the board. So yeah, that was the match.